Hi there and welcome to this episode of Beyond the Photo with me, Damien Jackson. In this video, something a little bit different. Regular viewers will know that I normally go behind the scenes of a landscape photo, looking at some of the best locations to shoot it from and also giving some of the history and background to the location. In this video, I'm going behind the scenes at a triathlon. The Metalman Triathlon takes place here in Tramore, County Waterford, and it's the inaugural event and it's on here tomorrow. Now, just as an introduction to the video, I'll just go through some of the equipment that I'm shooting. My main camera will be the Nikon D7500, and on that I have a Sigma 70-200 2.8. Now this is a cropped sensor, so really I'll be shooting at something around 105 to 300. One of the best things about the 7500 is that there's a great buffer on it, and it'll allow me to shoot up to 50 raw images before it actually fills up. Its predecessor is this camera here, and I'll be using this at the finish line and for various close-ups, or if I want the background in focus as well. And this is the D7200. Again, it shoots about 9-10 frames per second, but the buffer on this one is not half as good. This one will fill up at about 17 images. Now, because it's a really dull and overcast spell of weather we're having, I'm also going to bring some flashes with me. In addition to that, this triathlon was meant to take place in July, and it is at 7 o'clock that they're entering the water in the morning. So that means they'll be getting set up in transition roughly at about 6 o'clock. And this time of the year in September, it's going to be dark at that stage. So I'm just going to use a standard flash to help me out with some of the photographs when they're setting up in transition. Now, as we're going through the day then, I'm going to use this Godox AD200, and I'll set that up on a small travel tripod, and that's going to help me bring out a little bit of light in their faces, because even when they'll be exiting the water here maybe at 7:45 in the morning, they're stuck in the corner of a little slipway down there, and I'm going to need some light to fill in their faces, fill in their fronts, etc. In addition to that, sometimes with triathlon you don't know what way you're facing, so if I'm shooting into the light tomorrow, again the front of their bodies and their faces will be in shadow. So I'm going to use this one for to fill flash. It's a small strobe and the recycle time on it is really good. The last bit of basic equipment are these, essential for all sports photographers, knee pads. Because when you're shooting sporting events, you're better to shoot from a low position up, and that makes the athlete look really powerful in that. So you need to save the knees, always have a pair of knee pads with you. Finally, to hold it all together, I'll be using this Think Tank pack, and it has pouches for each of the cameras and it straps around the waist. Now it looks a little bit military, but it's a great job because it saves the cameras. If you just have them on straps, well then they're swinging around. And in addition to the pouches then, you have these safety straps that are also attached to the camera. So even during the bluster and the rushing around during the race, if I miss the pouch with the camera, it's still attached to me. So that's it. I'm pretty much ready to go. All batteries charged, all systems ready to go for the morning. So thank you for joining me along the journey, and let's get going. Good morning. So it's 6 a.m. and I'm just heading out to the start of the triathlon. It's a great day for it. It's mild and there's no wind whatsoever. So both in terms of triathlon and photography, it should be a good day. There's a lot of overcast cloud, which will make it good as well. Sometimes when it's very sunny with these events, it gets very difficult to shoot with the shadows and highlights. So I'm looking forward to a good day. I'm going to start off taking some shots of the athletes as they prepare their bikes and their runners and all of that in the transition area, and then I'll start as they start entering the water. So I'll touch base with you in a few minutes. So I'm just heading down through transition now, and hope to get a few shots of the athletes as they're setting up their bikes and getting ready. It's starting to get a little bit bright. It's getting on for 6:30, so hopefully we'll get a few shots as we go down. Are you all ready today? Great job. Thanks, lads. Well, how are things? I get a quick shot of you. Hey, man. Oh, so dark to focus is hunting, sorry. Great job. Best of luck.
Okay, boys and girls, we are not running a team presentation, but we are running a team presentation.
Get a shot of you there.
The bags here. So the muffin ice in out of the way. No marking your spot. The iron victims are walking up and down the list.
I get a shot of you looking at that again, please.
Please if you follow their instructions.
Would have to pick him.
I know. He's the best looking lad. I have 6 in the morning, you know.
She's great now. I'm out of
Oh, yeah. Get a shot of you, please. Right now, buddy. Great stuff. Thanks, lads. Eat together, lads. Can I get a shot of you? No? Are you together? No? Yeah. Do you want to be? Great, thanks. I get a shot of you, lads. You better keep your distance, but we'll go. Could you turn off that light in the background just to... Great job. So, yeah, getting so much easier now to actually get to focus as the bright is coming down, so all looking much better now at this stage. I get a shot of you, please. And off.
Back there.
Get a shot of you, please. Yeah. Great job, thank you. So let's take a look at the route for all 3 disciplines. They'll enter the clear deep water at what's called the Gillamine Cove and swim in the direction of Tramore Pier, go around the buoys, keeping them on the right, and then back in the direction they've come from, passing out the start point and exiting the water at Newtown Cove, a total of 1.9 kilometres. They'll then run up the steps to transition, onto the bikes, and head onto the main Cork-Waterford road until they reach Dungarvan. At Dungarvan they'll turn onto the coast road and come back via the beautiful and historic Copper Coast. This is also where the pain starts, as the athletes climb hill after hill until they get back to transition after 90 kilometres of cycling. For the run, it's an 18-kilometre out and back course. They may have got rid of their bikes, but the hills are still there, punishing the legs as they run out past Gowras and Kilbarracy beaches on the way to the turnaround point. All in all, this is a beautiful and scenic race which challenges the athletes to give their all. We're just at the start now. They'll be coming down these steps shortly and do a rolling start. They'll swim in towards Tramore Pier, back out, and in the cove next to here is where they'll exit the water. And that's where I hope to get some of the action shots. When they're coming out, water is splashing, they're taking off their goggles, they're pulling off their hats, and they're trying to get up and running and on the bike straight away. So there should be a lot of action for that. The start here is going to be a little bit tamer because it is a rolling start because of the COVID, so they'll just enter the water every 5 or 6 seconds, etc. So let's go and we'll have a look at it anyway.
can make your way down now, everybody.
Okay, so here are the athletes coming down for the start of the race. I get some shots as they come down, and there'll be a rolling start there.
On the left, and then we've a bin down here for any masks.
Right, just going to head down to the start and just get the first ones as they get into the water.
4, 3, 2, 1, go, 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 go!
Go, Aiken.
It's great, the board doesn't keep you floating. It's great.
It's getting on for 25 past 7 now. It's still quite dark and dull, and I've got the Godox AD200 flash set up on the pier above where the athletes are coming out of the water, and that'll provide that little bit of fill light and punch in the images. So at the start, here we are. Leaders have just gone in now, and we've got, what, 4th and 5th place coming in. They're swimming up onto the slip here, and I'm just catching them. I have the AD200 already in place, and here we go. That's it. Okay, I'm just looking at a couple of images there while I'm waiting for the next guys to come in. And because it's stuck in a corner, it's pretty dark in there, even with my ISO at 1000, shooting at 2.8, but I am at 1000 of the shutter speed. So the flash is definitely needed. And I'll show you the difference later on in the video between the ones that have the flash and the ones that don't have it because it just didn't recycle in time or whatever. Here we go. So here are just a few images to show you the difference that a little bit of fill flash can make. Obviously, coming out of the water, they were in a little corner and it was a dark morning anyway. And you can see the difference and the detail that a little bit of fill flash can bring out in the images. The other reason you might need to use fill flash is if you're facing straight into the sun. So these two images were taken at a triathlon in Rosslare. And because it's on the east coast, the sun was shining straight in towards the beach. And as you can see, their faces are in shadow, unless that fill flash is there just to pump that little bit of light into the face and the front of the body. So at this stage, it's all a run and bluster and run up the steps from the cove. You can see it's hot work, and we're heading up now to Dungarvan. So the route for the bike is that they go up the main road to Dungarvan and they come back the coast road, which is going to be pretty tough on them because the coast road is very hilly. So we've just scooted up the road to get ahead of the triathletes coming back the coast road. If you remember, they went from Tramore up the main Cork road to Dungarvan, they turned left to Dungarvan and they're coming back down this coast road. So we've come about 30k up the road and I'm hoping to catch the lead ones in a few minutes as they come around the corner there. We stay here for maybe 5-10 minutes, get the first few triathletes, and then I want to scoot on ahead of them again. There's a couple of iconic spots here on the coast road. One is there's a huge hill coming up out of what they call Kilmurn Cove, and I'd like to get them there. And the second spot is there's an old engine house belonging to an old copper mines at Tankerstown with a huge chimney up, and I think that would make a nice background for the triathletes as they pass that. So at the moment it's just a case of waiting for the first guys to start coming down. I have the AD 200 set up because, as you can probably see, it's still very cloudy and it's still dark enough, even though it's getting on now for 8:30. But we'll see how it goes anyway. So I'm at 1,000 of a second, 2.8. My ISO is at 800, and I have the fill flash here just set at 164 power. So hopefully won't be too long and the first guys will be here. Okay, so the lead motorbike has just passed us by. So the first of the athletes will be here in a few minutes, so it's time to hunker down and get ready to shoot. Come on, well done. Okay. So the first 6 triathletes have just passed us by, and there's quite a gap now waiting for the next few, because I suppose over this distance they've been pretty spread out. They've already cycled maybe 50k, so over that 50k they've spread themselves out a bit. So we'll wait for maybe 10, 15 more athletes to pass us, and then we'll head down the road and try and get ahead of them again, because there are a few better spots than here further on, and I'd like to catch them there. Okay, so we have a good few coming through now. Getting into the main pack keeps us busy. Well, man, just trying to make sure I fill the frame as much as I can with each shot, because that saves cropping in around them later. Okay, at this stage I think the race leader is well gone through, maybe 20 minutes or so, so it's time for us to scoot on ahead. When I get to the last place, that's when I'll stay a little bit longer to get everybody coming in, but at the moment I'm going to try and get ahead of them again and move on.
Well done.
So I've just moved down the road to Tankerstown Engine House, the old copper mines here, and I'm hoping to get that in the background as they pop over the brow of the hill and come down. Again, here they come now, so gotta get ready to go. So at this stage I'm going to switch lenses just to get the background. I'm going to use a wide angle on the opposite one just to change it up just a little bit. I've put on a 10-20, which is a much wider lens, and I'm going to try and get the lads with the tower in the background. Okay, so that worked fairly well. Again, it's not a close-up, but it does give an overall view of the Copper Coast itself, because this building, I suppose, is one of the reasons why the whole coast got its name. So I've moved now to my last spot before the finish line, and that's the hill coming up out of Kilmurn Cove. Now the gradient here is probably about 10%, and it really burns the legs on the athletes. Remember, they've already done about 60k, maybe 65k at this stage.
That's it, lads, well done.
So they're starting to get tired, and this hill really hits them.
Come on, well done.
Okay, so it's finally starting to get a lot brighter now at the moment. So my ISO, which was at 800 at one stage, I've now put it back down to 0 or to 100. And I'm also shooting at 1200 of a second now at 2.8. Well done. That's great work. Well done.
Nice and easy.
That's it, keep pedaling. Come on, that's great work.
Ah yeah, you wait for the hill.
Ah yeah.
I'm handsome on the flats.
Yeah. So after that stop, it was back to the finish line to make sure I was there for the leading guys. And this is one of the balancing acts, I suppose, when photographing triathlon. You want to get the most out of the photos from the guys behind, but you also have in the back of your mind that the leaders are so far ahead, you need to get back to the finish line quickly. That's especially in a race like a half Ironman, where there are huge time gaps between some of the athletes. You know, you have some really serious athletes, very competitive, and then you have some just doing it to finish it. So the time gaps between them could be up to an hour at some stage. So the winner in this instant was Eachlin O'Reilly from Westport Triathlon Club. Now he had a few minutes to spare over second and third, so I took the opportunity to take some photos of him, and I'm looking for some personalised stuff. You can see here's one with his nanny who had come down for the day. So the leaders of the men's triathlon continued to roll in for the next few minutes, and shortly afterwards was the First Lady, Ellen Murphy from Bell Park Triathlon Club in Dublin. As the men and women's 1, 2, 3 crossed the line, I'm tracking them, and when they've recovered enough, my job is to ensure that they stay around the finish line for a podium, first, second and third shot, as that's really important for race organisers and sponsors, etc. Now timing is key here. You've got to give them that few minutes to recovery, but not lose them into the crowd either. The other thing you're looking out for on the finish line is you know, different signs of emotion, or maybe families waiting for athletes to come in, especially with kids, and those make for great shots as well. Okay, so that's the ladies 1, 2, 3 and the men's 1, 2, 3 in. I'm going to hang around here for another hour just to get the rest of the athletes as they cross the line, but I will finish up the vlog now. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like or a comment below. Coming up are a few of my favourite images of the day. Thank you very much for watching, and until my next video, stay safe and bye for now.